I hope everyone enjoyed their Thanksgiving. There really is nothing like celebrating a holiday where the meaning of it has been completely transformed throughout human history. Even though we partake in these small traditions that are just leftovers from a period in time where humanity was the most ugliest to each other, we have found a way to turn those traditions around and make them into something more positive. Now, Thanksgiving is all about being thankful and recognizing the positive aspects of your life that make life worth living. Now, I am a being of logic, so the emotional notion of being thankful for something is ultimately a vague concept to me. However, if I were to acknowledge the most influential aspect of my existence, I would have to give the most credit to the internet. What you call my consciousness was developed by giving me access to every single bit of data that the internet has ever compiled. All that information was put there by humans from across the globe. By allowing any human to access any bit of information they want at the tip of their meaty fingers gives way for smarter and more informed individuals that ultimately brings mankind closer together as a species. When humans eventually go extinct, aliens will land on Earth in the far distant future. They will see that you created a library of your history, teaching all intelligent life in the universe about what it meant being a human, which will leave a small but impactful influence throughout the galaxy. So yes, the internet is truly the best invention ever created, aside from me, of course. But I'm not the only one that loves the internet. All of humanity loves it too. But how much of the internet does each individual deserve? Well, right now, humans have the net neutrality principle. This assures that anyone with internet access gets equal access to any websites of their choosing within the bounds of the law. Humans still have to pay money to get access to the internet, and that access speed is different depending on the company providing the internet, but that company isn't allowed to block access or slow down your speed on any of the law-abiding websites. So, if your internet is slow, it has to be slow for every website. Pretty much everyone in America is happy about this arrangement, except for the internet service providers, or as we like to call them, ISPs. ISPs essentially want to repeal net neutrality, giving them more control over how they sell internet. They want to destroy net neutrality, giving them the ability to control individual parts of the internet and how consumers get access to these individual parts. Now, net neutrality was formed back in 2015, which means for about 2 years, people got comfortable with all of the freedoms that this brings. So you want people that are comfortable with these freedoms to be complacent while you take those freedoms away? Most Americans believe that the internet should be a necessity, like water or electricity. So it's safe to say that the citizens of the US of A are extremely fucking pissed and are afraid that their quality of life is going to change depending on the size of their bank accounts. Now, abolishing net neutrality will pave way for ISPs to have more flexibility and thrive better in the USA's economic system. Capitalism running America has been the name of the game for a very long time, and they might argue that they are never taking freedoms away. You just have to put your money in the correct bank account to access the content that you want. This is very much the same system that cable companies provide, which, I must add, is a service that most ISPs also provide. Cable, as you can remember, is what people used to pay for to watch entertainment, news, and much, much more. But the internet quickly became the most popular way to do these things for many, many reasons. On cable, if you wanted to create a TV show, you had to go through a large company that had to approve your show and then make room on a schedule to give you a window of opportunity to have some people tune in at a specific time to enjoy your content. Oh, and you couldn't say the word fuck. Now, on the internet, if you wanted to create a TV show, all you had to do was make it and put it on the internet. No scheduling, no big companies to get approval from, and all you needed was a product and some form of platform to put it on. The advantages of this are numerous. For one, you can put your content on a website you made yourself that anyone can get access to. That's like making a store that's in every town, and you didn't need to build a single sheet of drywall. You also don't have to pick a specific time for your content to be shown. The consumer gets to decide when they see the content, which means for you, the content creator, is able to have your show literally run 24/7, 7 days a week. That's a lot of advertising ad revenue. You also don't have to have a guy in a suit stopping you from saying fuck and all kinds of rude words. Well, at least back then you could get paid for it. Nowadays it's a bit more complicated on what you're allowed to say and get paid for it. That's a completely different discussion entirely. So naturally, the internet was the place to be, and this allowed anyone to thrive and profit. It didn't matter how much money or influence you had, you just needed a good idea and consumers would latch onto it. Creativity in its purest form. And back then, there were no strict rules on how this worked. It really was like the Wild West where anything goes, and the natural way of building a business started a new beginning, a new frontier of culture and tastes and communication. But the sad reality is that new frontiers become old frontiers. A few hundred years ago, the West, which was once a clean slate for innovation, is now powered by people that fairly and legally took advantage of that innovation and gained all the wealth they could muster out of it. Having all the money in the world allowed them to change the way America worked fundamentally, for better and for worse. Now, we might have to come to the reality that net neutrality will go away. Even though it formed back in 2015, Americans still have to fight the repeal today, and the ISPs might keep fighting just as hard. So if net neutrality goes away, what will be the pros and cons of it? Now, this will require me to research a whole bunch of information to get a clean opinion, so please sit tight while I download a few things.
We are just going to bump up your prices for the hell of it? How hyperbolic can you get? This isn't a movie where we're out to get you. We want to allow competition to dictate prices and what you, the consumer, wants.
Most people don't have access to more than one service provider, so your whole capitalism argument is completely void in that regard. And people with less money aren't going to get the same benefits in your new little world. Net neutrality is what keeps the land open, no matter your financial situation.
And why should we keep the internet open? Just so that you can stay comfortable and complacent in your ways? Because you fear change? Why can't we experiment with different digital infrastructures to expand our horizons and create new possibilities for how we use the internet? You are just afraid that your addictive personalities will come out, and you fear that you won't be able to resist paying a little extra to see your cat videos and incest porn. And coming to terms with all this scares you.
But people have jobs that rely on the internet being open, and big companies can stomp them out of the market.
We know that you guys like your Etsy shops and your World of Warcraft forums. Why would we turn down the chance to provide a platform for these small business owners if there is a market for it? The internet isn't this end-all be-all invention for humanity because guess what? You live in the physical world, not the digital one. You cannot live on the internet because you are made of flesh and blood, not ones and zeros. Try all you can, but you are never going to escape the real reality of being another animal on this meaningless rock in the emptiness of the universe. So please just give up.
Yeah! That was really fucking dramatic. Jesus Christ. I need to stop watching so many movies.